School libraries are vital to student success. Welcome to this presentation on the challenges to libraries in the school sector. On any given day in a K-12 school library, one can witness stories being read, student news shows going on and being produced, self-selected reading, and research being done. In all these activities, the school librarian is actively or passively involved. For all the good going on in the school library, there are challenges to the values that all libraries hold dear. Librarians are no longer just keepers of the books and shushers of rambunctious children. In this presentation, we will focus on 3 library values and challenges each one faces. They are challenges to literacy and learning, stewardship, and equity of access. One challenge to literacy and learning in the library sector today is changing perceptions about the necessity of quality over quantity of information. In a recent report by the American Library Association, there was a study done at Stanford that suggests that more than 80% of middle schoolers cannot tell the difference between sponsored content and a real news article. School libraries today also face the challenge of combating the perception that books in libraries are no longer essential because, hey, everything that anyone needs to know can just be found on Google. Just Google it. As a result, the Encyclopedia Britannica's final print edition was printed in 2010. Today's information seeker is more interested in the quick tidbit of information rather than the more valuable practice of reading for deeper knowledge. What does Gorman say about literacy? He states if the word literacy means the ability to read on some level, then we have mass literacy. If, however, to be literate means the ability to read and interpret complex texts, then the U.S. exists of 2 nations. The majority of people can read enough to function in society and their work, but seldom read other than for uninstructive recreation or out of necessity, while those in the minority read to learn and elevate their consciousness. Librarians are combating fake news by educating their users. They're meeting the needs to discern credible information with strategies for critical thinking, and they're teaching their students to question their sources of information. For instance, Joangela O'Hurlia, librarian at the University of Michigan, states, "It's just so easy to use technology tools to manipulate things like data and information, so we really need to get ourselves to places where we have the critical thinking skills to engage with things deeply." Here, O'Hurlia's statement demonstrates the connection between fake news and Gorman's ideas of literacy. By teaching strategies to identify credible sources, librarians can help students learn valuable skills that enable them to think more critically and to read for knowledge, thus increasing their literacy. Next, we'll look at the value of stewardship. Stewardship is defined by Webster's Dictionary as the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. Gorman states that stewardship is preserving the human record to ensure future generations know what we know. How do librarians ensure that students know what we know and teach them the importance of preserving the human record? How can school librarians teach stewardship? They can start by earning the trust and respect of students, colleagues, and families, educate them on the importance of preservation for future generations, and they can do this by keeping abreast of new technologies and the laws that govern them in order to educate and inform others. Finally, equity of access. School librarians have the privilege of serving students of every class, race, stage, and ability. Regardless of what community the school is located, school libraries have the potential to unlock doors and break through ceilings for all of their students. This is why equity of access is so important for school libraries. They should be accessible to everyone, everywhere, every time. This phrase is often quoted by Dr. Clayton Copeland in her teaching and lecturing on universal access and design. It was coined by a former student of the program. Some of the challenges for libraries regarding equity of access are creating accessible and adaptable spaces, providing materials for a diverse population, and encouraging inclusion regardless of background or ability. What are the skills necessary for effective librarians? Desire to meet the needs of the user community, be motivational, critical and analytical thinking, be organized and knowledgeable about your information and your area of expertise, and be a good communicator. How do I attain and apply these necessary skills? For starters, I'll continue with my education to hone my critical and analytical thinking skills. I will actively engage with professional organizations, and I will continue to collaborate with colleagues and administration in my current position and toward the positions that I would like to have in the future. Thank you for your time.